Hey, welcome to Galaxy Burn, the first and only Warhammer 40k podcast. So today this is going to be another one of those like improvised ones. Yeah, you love those. It's just going to be me talking about a new codex that is in my hands as of this afternoon. The lovely people at Warhammer store in Manchester, central Manchester, because I think there's some few others out in the weird like boonies, but the best Warhammer store in the whole entire world. Go and look at their window display; it's amazing. Were nice enough to sell me for money a new copy of the Blood Angels Codex supplement. So, first off, it's a supplement. It's not a full codex. If you want it to play as Blood Angels, it would be very, very difficult and not at all meta to just use what's in this book. You're going to need other stuff, like gladiator tanks for anti-armor and so on. I think it would technically be possible to make a like game legal force using just what's in this book, but it would be a very strange force. There would be like 6 Brutalis dreadnoughts, like 4 Baal pattern predators. It'd be pretty powerful because you have to use all of the very good characters. We'll get onto them in a second. So, I've covered the Blood Angels before, and kind of the reason I covered them probably more than other chapters is they're who I play. Now, technically, I'm playing the Flesh Terrors, who are a successor to the Blood Angels. But Games Workshop, in their infinite wisdom, have decided to like collapse all of the successor chapters down into detachments. So you're not playing as the Flesh Terrors anymore. You could do that back in 9th and earlier editions. Like I think 8th edition Codex pretty much made them like the B chapter. It was mostly about the Blood Angels, but there was a big section on the Flesh Terrors. They had their own rules. They had even their own psychic powers at one point back in the day when you could get you had a little selection of psychic powers like in D&D where you have your spells. Then they weren't just like a different kind of weapon as they are today. I'm in two minds about that. I kind of like the weirdness of having like your little list of psychic powers. I think a Flesh Terrors one was something like they can make your weapon sharper by putting spikes of blood on it, things of that nature. But at the same time, it is cleaner and easier to have them just to have like Witchfire as a weapon, And being a very psychically strong chapter, they've got Mephiston, Lord of Death, just great guy, a very good character and a brilliant, like a really good model on a table. Looks great, and he's also very powerful, but we'll get to him in a minute. So yeah, I've liked them very long time. I technically play them. Like I have a conversion I've done of various pieces that I probably put like way too much money, like maybe $100 into this thing, of Gabriel Seth, the chapter master of the Flesh Terrors, who gets like a tiny little blurb in a corner of a page on this book. Not that I'm bitter. And he looks great. I've converted a Brutalis dreadnought back when there were no Death Company dreadnoughts. I made my own. Well, there was no Death Company Brutalis dreadnought. There was the old Death Company dreadnought, just like the size of your thumb. But the new cool Primarisified ones, I made one of those. It's got like a vampire sticking out of it. Like the guy inside just was angry enough that he burst out of his dreadnought. Oh, and when I put a picture of that on the Flesh Terrors Reddit page, someone was like, actually, he wouldn't have arms. When people are put into dreadnoughts, they are lacking arms. So that's not actually Codex compliant. And I was just, yeah, cool, I'll smash that thing I made with a hammer, I guess. So, what do we got in the Codex? So it's pretty standard. You have a big chunk of lore at the start. I don't think I've really gone through this with a fine tooth comb. I don't think there's anything in there that's new. Some lore head will probably correct me on this, but I really don't think anything sounds new. I think, and it kind of reads the same as previous codices. I think even some of the phrasing is similar to previous ones. Like I remember some of the phrases in there. Yeah, so you're not going to learn anything new if you know about them, or basically if you watch like a lore video about them. You'll know Red First, Black Rage, Black Death Company, Sanguinary Guard. There's full page profiles on Ashrath the Grim, Lamenters, Dante and Mephiston. Yeah, I don't think you're going to learn anything new. And that's fine. Like, they don't need to keep changing lore. They don't need to bring out new stuff all the time. I really like this page on successor chapters. Like, I love reading about all the weird freaks who kind of ride on the Blood Angels coattails. You've got Flesh Terrors are they I'm saying they're the most important just because they have the biggest picture. There's a whole page where like there's a full size Flesh Terror guy, and there's like how to do the correct company markings on them, and make sure you've got your close support and your fire support on the shoulder pauldron correct. So I'm assuming they are still like the B chapter. That like no one's writing Black Library novels about the Kuro blades. But you got some weird freaks in here. Lamenters are everyone's favourite. Are here in their bright yellow. It doesn't mention their terrible luck. You know how they'll like trip over a bucket and fall through a plate glass window that some construction workers are walking with across a road. Then like they'll roll around a bit more and fall into like a big wedding cake that's been made by a snooty French chef, and you'll go sacre bleu. They don't mention that, which I think is a real really damages the credibility of this codex. I think there's some. They have the Atlantean spears. Now these guys I want to see more of because they have such great armor. It's like teal and gold. Looks great. And they don't look like any other Blood Angel successor. It notes that they ignored Dante's call for aid when Baal was getting messed up by the High Fleet Leviathan, which is kind of unfair. They were like, if I can remember correctly, they were like sworn to do something. They couldn't like just give it up. Yeah, and it mentions that they have an unusual number of psychics, but I'd like more on them. I think they would be interesting. I have no I have no justification for believing that. I'm going purely on aesthetics and vibes, which are the two most important aspects of human life. The Angel's Penitent, I've never really known about them, but they seem pretty interesting too. And there's a lot of people you would very easily mistake for actual Blood Angels. The Angels in Carmine, Blood Drinkers, Angels Vermilion. You've got to like check their shoulder pads to actually work out that they are not actually the mainline Blood Angels. Blood Dragons as well. The Flesh Eaters. Now they're a very old chapter. They were literally in like Rogue Trader alongside the Flesh Terrors when Flesh Terrors wore like black and yellow. Yeah, the Flesh Eaters are old, but they've had very little in the game. Very little in the lore. You know, there would be interesting things you could do on any of these chapters, and like if I had to not do the Flesh Terrors, then there'd be interesting things you could do on the table. Like Atlantean Spears army on the table would look so good. So good. I may do that one of these days. what else have we got in here? Apart from the showcase, which obviously brilliant because they like models look so good. Like over the last 40 years, people have really learned how to make models look amazing. There is the combat patrol rules. I don't play combat patrol, so wouldn't know, wouldn't be able to judge them. And then there's the free detachments. So I think for a full size codex you'd get 6, but here you have 3. So you'd have the Liberator Assault Group, which is the successor to the Sons of Sanguinius detachment that they started with when they just had the one. That's your general Blood Angels. You get 2+ strength and an extra attack when you charge. The enhancements are all basically the enhancements and the stratagems are all basically close combat focused. It's aggressive onslaught, red rampage, savage echoes, and things like armor of contempt and angelic grace, which are, but armor of contempt is kind of like a standard Space Marine stratagem. Angelic grace is a fights first, so it's technically a defensive thing, but it's a defensive by chopping people up in the face. So that's, I think, from what I can tell, that's what 99% of Blood Angels players are playing. It's a very, very good detachment. It's doing well in like tournaments. So that's what most people are playing, I think. I haven't read anyone saying that they're playing one of the other two. So the other two are the Lost Brethren, which are kind of a Death Company centric detachment. They get their detachment rule is each time a Death Company model from your army makes a melee attack, reroll a wound roll of 1 if that model's unit is below its starting strength. If that model's unit is below half strength, you can reroll the wound instead. So the more they die, the better they get. And all of the Death Company Marines with bolt rifles units, which I'll get to in a minute because that's weird, have the battle line keyword, so you can have more of them, basically. And they've got various... the enhancements of stratagems are Death Company focused. I think, let me see, only Armor of Contempt doesn't directly affect Death Company. So all your any other models you take, they're not going to have any benefit from this. Now, Death Company are very good, don't get me wrong, and they've got things like the Death Company Dreadnought and so on. But I don't know if that's enough to persuade me. And the Death Company Marines and Death Company Marines with bolt rifles, I don't know why you would have those. Please like and reply or whatever. But I don't know why you would go for those over just intercessors or something basic. If you're going to have just like guys with bolt guns, you may as well have ones that can like take an objective. They don't need a chaplain around to babysit them. I mean, the Death Company Marines with bolt rifles, long ass name, they are objectively better than intercessors, but you're paying more. You can barely take objectives. You got a nice ability for them, but I just wouldn't take them. Why not take heavy intercessors? They're like nigh on unkillable, got great weapons, pretty cheap. They're like, 90 points or something? 5? They can stay on objectives, no one will kill them ever. Yeah, just take them instead. I really don't get the rationale behind Death Company Marines with bolt rifles, and I don't want to say that ever again because my tongue is sore. The next one's the Angelic Host. So these guys are based on the... So these guys focus on any jump pack units. So that's your Sanguinary Guard, your Intercessors with jump packs. And I guess also Death Company with jump packs. So their detachment rule, upon Wings of Fire, cool name, is at the end of your opponent's turn, you can select a number of Adeptus Astartes jump packs, depending on how big your army is, put them back into strategic reserves. So kind of like what you do with like scouts. You just take them out, you can put them back in wherever. That seems useful. I mean, if you're in a bad situation, I mean, you can't be in engagement range, but if like people are shooting at you, and you've taken some hits and you want to like get out of that situation, then that's pretty decent. You can get on objectives pretty easily. It's not bad. I just don't see anyone using it. Again, the enhancements and stratagems are purely on the thing they're about. They're purely on Adeptus Astartes jump pack. It's obviously a lot more varied and useful than the Lost Brethren one, because you can use it on like I think 3 kind of core units like Sanguinary Guard, Intercessors jump packs, Death Conqueror jump packs, all very usable units, and it gives good things for all of them. But then why not have good things for like literally any model? Like pretty much any unit can benefit from, or any unit that has any sort of melee ability, which is literally everyone. Any Adeptus Astartes unit. So if you had your heavy intercessors in a bad spot, you can give them red rampage, and they could use the knife in their boot to red rampage all over some people. Whereas the other two are focused on, you've got to be making an entire army out of Death Company, and that's got so many disadvantages, and anything that's not Death Company is gonna lose out massively. So why do it? Yeah, I think the lag Liberator Assault Group is perfect. Doesn't need it's perfect. I'm doing the Homelander from The Boys. It was perfect bit. So who are you guys when you're playing Blood Angels? Okay, so we got Commander Dante. He has jump pack, good and vulnerable save 4+. He has 6 wounds. He's got a quite decent, although low range pistol. It's a Perdition pistol, Melter pistol, and the Axe Mortalis, which is really decent. So the Gabriel Seth conversion I did earlier, which I mentioned, he's going to be substituting for Dante. Because the Axe Mortalis is the nearest thing I could find to like Gabriel Seth's big ass sword. It's still not as good as the big ass sword. The Axe Mortalis has 8 attacks, hits on 2s, strength 8, AP -3, damage 2. So that's going to be great against. That's going to wipe out whole squads of like Marines. I think even Terminators might struggle with that. Be good against fairly light vehicles. There's 2 damage, so it's can wipe out like mid to heavy infantry. And he's also got the Warden of the Imperium Nihilus, so he advances and charges faster, which I think is a very Gabriel Seth thing, him running around chopping people up. And in the fight phase, each enemy unit within 6 inches of this model must take a battle shock test with a -1 penalty. Again, it's very Gabriel Seth. If you see him on a battlefield chopping people up with a sword you could comfortably sleep on, then you get pretty scared. So I think he's a good substitute for Gabriel Seth. I think you got the Sanguinor. There's a spooky angel boy. He is a lone operative, but he basically jumps in when someone charges you. You choose. So if someone charges one of your units, you can choose to have the Sanguinor jump in and help them. And he's got fights first, so whatever they try to do to you, you'll be able to hurt them a lot more first. And he's got a decent Incarmine broadsword, which does devastating wounds, 8 attacks, hits on 2s, strength 6. It's basically the Axe Mortalis, but gets 2 less strength, and that's pretty decent. And then he's jumped in, he's messed up someone's charge on you. then he can lone operative around the board wherever he likes. He can also deep strike, so you could just like put him in wherever you want. Have him hold an objective. He's only got OC1, but he can do it if no one else is there. So yeah, he has an aura as well that allows people to reroll battle shock charge within 6 inches. Now Mephiston, he's another lone operative. He's got great feel no pain, vulnerable save. He's got the psychic attacks, a pretty normal plasma pistol, but you're not going to use that. Vitarius, his sword, which is strength 9, does D3 because it's psychic and it's weird. So yeah, these guys have all got really solid melee attacks, like very, very good melee attacks. So Ashtoreth and Lamenters they both basically attach to Death Company Marines with jump packs. They can't attach anything else. They can't attach to Intercessors with jump packs, for example. So I really like Lamenters' model. You know, it's got that kind of like black, kind of shiny, almost like leather-like look to him, with like a lot of little studs on him. And he's kind of like protective. So he's like a dad. So he's like leather, but also like a dad or daddy. So like leather daddy? Is that a thing? Is that a thing? And kind of choosing which one to go with is pretty hard because they've got the exact same stat line. Ashtoreth doesn't have a ranged weapon, but Lamenters has an Absolver bolt pistol, which is what any chaplain gets. It's nothing special. 2 damage, strength 5. Ashtoreth has slightly, a bit better, actually significantly better weapon. So he has the Executioner's Axe, which does devastating wounds and is precision. With 6 attacks, strength 7, AP -3, damage 2. Lamenters has the Blood Crozius, which has lethal hits. 5 attacks, hits on 2s, strength 6, AP -2, damage 2. So Lamenters is objectively worse in melee, but I think his ability, Guardian of the Lost, that allows you to subtract 1 from the damage characteristic of any attack. So someone hits you with a 2 damage plasma pistol, it's now 1 damage. And so then a dead Marine is now a half dead Marine, which is pretty awesome. And like I think like damage 1 wound attacks do nothing because at last I checked 1 - 1 was 0, and he also gives his unit lethal hits, which is really good as well. Although Ashtoreth gives his units devastating wounds, so I can't figure out which one is better to have. It's probably very situational. There's also a big lot of captains. So the Blood Angels captain is pretty much like any captain. He has the exact same abilities, although I think Finest Hour, does slightly different for him. Same stat line. And they're not massively different from the regular captains you'd get. And they don't have things like the Storm Shield, which is really helpful. There is a Death Company captain with jump pack, who's fairly useful. He's got basically a fights on death. He gives his units sustained hits 1. That's again useful. The Death Company captain gives his units scout for some reason. Not sure what's going on there, providing he's not in a transport. The captains are not great. I don't know why you pick them over regular captains unless you particularly have to attach something to a unit. But then if you've got Death Company with jump packs, you may as well go for Lamenters or Ashtoreth. So I get one of those. You may be a cause for putting the captain on a death company with just the regular assault type. Now, the Sanguinary Guard. Where do we start with the old Sango Gardo? Yeah, the models were not... They were not well liked, let's say. They were not... When they arrived, we really wanted to see them look amazing, because they should look amazing. It's just that the models we had currently were quite old, and Games Workshop's like design and aesthetics have changed over time. The models just look a lot better nowadays, and the making of them is a lot better. So I was certainly thinking, yeah, the Sanguinary Guard are going to look amazing with like 2024 aesthetics, and yeah, they didn't, did they? I think I don't know anyone who's like, oh yeah, those looking pretty sweet, and that's largely because of the lack of wings. Like, wings are a pretty big deal for a chapter that's based around an angel. So that was a pretty bad mistake. So a lot of people are going to like the secondary market, 3D printing and stuff to get their wings. Hey, and while they're there, they're probably going to get into buying more stuff from the secondary market. So it's a good little business sense there, Games Workshop. Just, send people to your competitors. And also the heads looked very much like the Age of Sigmar guys, and not like at all like the Sanguinary Guard models that we have already. So I think, a lot of people are going to, like, when I buy them, I'm going to have to buy about £20 worth of extra stuff just to make them look how I want them to look. And some of that is to make them look like Flesh Terrors, Sanguinary Guard, who, it's not like a canon thing. There's been no like confirmation of this in lore or whatever, but I think they should look different. That's my thing. My vision for Flesh Terror Sanguinary Guard is they go into battle in gleaming white armor, just like porcelain white, and they don't come back until they're drenched in blood head to toe. Oh, and they use like 2 chain swords instead of 1 in Carmine Blade. Obviously, it all counters in Carmine Blade or tabletop, whatever. I'm not gonna cheat. And they have wings, because they should always have wings. And I think when you look at people's Sanguinary Guard, if you see them at a thing, they're always going to have a pair of wings that someone's going to get off Etsy. So yeah, again, just bad business sense on GW's part there. I could have told them to not do that. I think like anyone could have told them that was a bad idea. So you've got this is another flaw in, not in the Codex itself, but in the way in the way the Blood Angels release has been structured. So you have your Death Company with bolt rifles. Now they just work like intercessors, but they got some cool equipment. They got grenade launchers. They can take eviscerators for some reason. They can take power fists. They're pretty useful. They're better than your regular intercessors. They've got Feel No Pain 6+, which can save a guy in a pinch, I guess. They got Visions of Heresy, which allow you to do Heroic Intervention or Fire Overwatch for 0 CP. And you've got the Death Company Marines, which are like Assault Intercessors, except Death Company. So they have to Feel No Pain, they've got the Black Rage, they get Fights on Death. Oh, sorry, they get better as they die, basically. And they've got some weapons that you wouldn't get as a normal Assault Intercessor squad, including an Eviscerator, which is very useful. But yeah, I mean, firstly, just the concept of a like a intercessor who is also got the Black Rage just seems weird to me. Like, these guys like literally believe that they're sanguineous. They believe they're on the vengeful spirit fighting Horus. Are they doing that with a grenade launcher? Like, you put a grenade launcher in their hand while they full on believing they're sanguineous. They're going to try and chop someone with it because they'll think it's his sword. It doesn't really make sense that they would be loaded out like that. It's like having a Def Company Devastator squad. Help give them the nerf guns from a Desolation squad. It doesn't make sense, does it? Yeah, they should be like they were a close up high damage unit. When back in earlier editions they had things like they could have an Inferno pistol and a Power Fist, which was very good for hitting vehicles, or they could have Thunder Hammers, which were really good. Those are not there anymore. And the Def Company Marines with jump packs, I'm kind of two minds about them, because they get some decent weapons that you don't get with normal jump pack guys. And Savage Fury, their ability is, I don't know if it's better than the normal jump pack intercessors ability, because that's really good. It's once you get into engagement range, your enemies take mortal wounds. There's like, we hit you, we jump on you, and you die. That's mortal wounds, so it's great. But they don't have that. They have re-rolling charges, which is pretty useful, especially for them, because they're going to be charging around the place. But I still like those free mortal wounds you get with the regular guys. And also, so they have every 5 of them can take one eviscerator, which gets sustained hits 1, does 3 hits that do 2 damage. Very good weapon. It's like the level of weapon that a character would get. The only drawback is weapon skill is 4, which means you're slightly more likely to be missing some hits. But one of them can also take a Power Fist and Plasma Pistol. So they're on like stat line and weapons, they are better versions of jump pack intercessors. But the problem is that the way you get an eviscerator, the way you make this unit is you buy a pack of jump pack intercessors, then you go and buy a Blood Angels upgrade sprue, which is £22, I think, in addition to the £30 you paid for the assault intercessors. So you're at 50 quid right there for 5 guys. £10 each. That's a lot. And the upgrade sprue has 1 eviscerator in it. So if you're making like a death blob of 10 of them, you just got the 1. So you're gonna have to buy a second sprue, and you're gonna get a bunch of stuff in there. You get some nice heads. There are some nice like vampire boys in here. If you like Bishonen vampires, then these are as well. They're not as good as the ones you get on Etsy, actually, if you like pretty vampires. And you probably use an Inferno pistol. I think the Sergeant could take an Inferno pistol. Yeah, you can. Inferno pistol and Power Fist. I don't think you even get a Plasma pistol in the upgrade sprue, so you're going to have to find out somewhere. Again, pushing people to secondary market. So, yeah, if you want to have like a fairly large amount of Def Company Marines, like if you're playing as Lost Brethren, you're going to be paying out the ass to get these like upgrade sprues. To get like the 1. So every 5 models, you got to spend another £20 to get the 1 eviscerator. And you're not going to go without that because it's so good. But again, you can go on Etsy and find 3D printed eviscerators. You can get a pack of 3 for like £5. And again, it's pushing people towards secondary markets or 3D printing. And that is not a good business sense. Like, guys, just make a box with 5 Def Company Marines, some heads, and an eviscerator and a plasma. Like everything you need to be 5 Def Company Marines. So then if you want to make a murder blob of 10, you can just buy 2 boxes, you have everything you need. No secondary stuff. Like make the upgrade sprues just like a cosmetic thing. Like you shouldn't have to buy something just to make a core unit work. And secondly, for people like me who play Blood Angel Successors, if we get this upgraded transfers box, the transfer, all the shoulder pads have like solid Blood Angels logos on there, so they don't work for any successors. There's a lot of the like flare is Blood Angels, and again can't be used for successors. The Terminator pack, like chest pieces, all Blood Angels. The transfers are they're entirely for the Blood Angels. No success chances, and previous ones have had Flesh Terrors and other ones in the box with it. So they are just for the Blood Angels. You if you play successor, you're getting very little from this box. So yeah, I don't like how they're playing out the whole the Death Company there. You got Death Company Dreadnoughts. Like I made my own like a couple of years ago. So, but it's got a. Again, I kind of like the regular Brutalis Dreadnought that has this like charge and it does mortal wounds to you. But this has, if you shoot it, it runs towards you. It's pretty cool. So it just discourages people like light infantry from trying to like chip away from it, because it's going to get closer to them. It's going to get into like a charge range. Could even get into. I don't think anyone's going to be stupid enough to shoot it when it's like 3 inches away, but it could do. The Baal Predator is hanging around. That's the only firstborn size unit that you're still getting. I would have thought they would do something like, you can get a gladiator tank and just upgrade it with something, like a cheap little upgrade thing to turn your gladiator tank into a Baal gladiator. But no, they're going out with the. I've seen these things. I don't have one, but they are tiny compared to like your repulsors and gladiators and impulsors. They're going to look really weird on the tabletop next to Primaris size stuff. Although they're very good actually. They've got this flamestorm cannon, and they can take 2 heavy flamers, like not one twin linked, not 2 twin linked counted as 1, but 2. So if you put them in the middle of the board, you've got an 18-inch radius around yourself where you can do Overwatch with a flamestorm cannon, which is just insane. There's like d6 plus 3 attacks, 2 damage, -2, like crazy flamer. And yeah, and being a flamer, it ignores cover, it has torrent, so it's going to automatically hit. So you're going to get minimum 4 hits, so 8 damage on just for being within 18 inches of this guy. So that I think people are going to get that one. Although I really wish it was Primaris-ified. This is like the only thing that I wish would be Primaris size. Hopefully it will be someday. Maybe. I mean, you can't even like convert something, can you? Because it's a different size. So people are going to be like, it's got the wrong size base. You can't use in competitive play. You know how people are. So yeah, I mean, the Codex supplement is lovely. It's very there's just like weird ideas that Games Workshop had that they're doing with this. The not making impressive looking Sanguinary Guard, which they can definitely do. They've done amazing stuff at Age of Sigmar. They've got like some of the greatest designs ever have been in the last few years. Like amazing stuff has come out of Games Workshop, and yet there's been such a fumble in the bag on that one. Doing the Death Company in this really weird way that makes you go. I mean, if you want to sum up what's wrong with this, it's that it makes you go and buy extra stuff from people who aren't Games Workshop, and I'm fine with that. I don't think Games Workshop are though, and if you were to use these in like a high-end tournament, like the Las Vegas Open or something, could you use Sanguinary Guard with 3D printed wings? Are you gonna have to like tear them off before you start playing? Yeah, or the other alternative being just have bad looking Sanguinary Guard that aren't as good as the old ones. Yeah, it's yeah, I just was quite disappointed with this. But, you know, it's like Donald Trump said about Diet Coke. I'll keep drinking that crap. It's not crap. Games Workshop, don't be sad. Come on. It's just the internet. Come on, people say bad things all the time. It's a fan's prerogative to complain. But yes, I will probably spend like £300 on this stuff I've just like insulted and called crap. Like in the next 3 months or so, like before Christmas, I will have bought all these models that I've said were bad. So yeah, they've got us. They've got really pulling our strings like we're little dancing monkeys. But anyway, so that's the Codex supplement for Blood Angels. I give it 3 boxes of popcorn. Out of what? Doesn't matter. If you've had 3 boxes of popcorn, it's enough. You don't need any more than that. So come back soon. We'll be having our first interview with a Black Library writer, Bruce Wank. Another guest coming up really soon, and lots more grim dark fun. Gonna have to work on that ending. Goodbye.